Is your credit limit really just money created out of thin air? And if so, how is that different from the government printing more cash? Could both be fueling inflation? Let's break it down. When you're approved for a $10,000 credit limit, where does that money come from? Unlike cash, credit isn't new money, it's borrowed money from the bank's reserves. You're given a limit, but you're expected to pay it back. However, there's a catch. When millions of people max out their credit cards, banks are essentially increasing spending power without increasing the supply of goods. That's where inflation risk comes in. Now, let's compare this to the government printing money. When central banks physically print more money or inject funds into the economy, there's instantly more cash chasing the same amount of goods. That leads to inflation. Prices rise because demand outpaces supply. Unlike credit, printed money never has to be paid back. It just exists permanently. This is why reckless money printing devalues currency over time. So does handing out huge credit limits have the same effect as printing money? Not exactly, but it can fuel inflation if people spend irresponsibly. Here's how. More credit equals more consumer spending equals increased demand. If supply can't keep up, businesses raise prices. When too many people default on debt, banks may need government bailouts, which often leads to, you guessed it, printing more money. This is why central banks adjust interest rates, to control how easy or hard it is to borrow money and prevent inflation from spiraling out of control. Giving out huge credit limits without financial education leads to high-interest debt traps. People spend recklessly and get stuck paying insane interest. Banking instability. If too many people default, banks may collapse. Market crashes. Too much bad debt can trigger recessions, just like the 2008 financial crisis. This is why using credit wisely is crucial. Treating it like free money can have consequences not just for individuals, but for the economy as a whole. So, what's the best strategy? Use credit responsibly, only borrow what you can afford to repay in full, avoid lifestyle inflation. A bigger credit limit doesn't mean you should spend more. Invest instead of overspending. Make your money work for you instead of falling into debt. Credit limits and printed money aren't exactly the same, but when mismanaged, both can fuel inflation and economic instability. The key? Smart spending and financial discipline. What do you think? Does giving people huge credit limits contribute to inflation just like printing money? Let's discuss in the comments.